This video is only one part of an in-depth review, so check out the rest at thegoodride.com. Thanks for watching. Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and I love a little bit of morning travel uphill on a powder day before the lifts open. Because of that, I love approach skis like the Rovers and like the drift boards. And that's what I'm reviewing today, the Union Rovers. But I'm also comparing them against the drift boards and split boards, so you get an idea of what you're getting into before you buy. Kind of like my wife before she married me. By the time I got these, winter shut off. It went from what I thought was going to be an epic winter to basically just spring in late February, early March, and it just barely got any snow after that. I mainly rode them with the Union Explorer and my Burton Tourists. I took these mainly on groomers uphill. It was fun to get some okay groomers with them and test them against the drift boards in the same day. I would go up with one, then go downhill, switch out, go up with another, and then sometimes grab a split board like the Jones Mind Expander Split, Jones Mountain Twin Split, Libtech BRD Split, and I rode a lot of other split boards throughout this season and tested these Rovers against them. And to give you a short summary, these Rovers are a pretty cool idea. These things just destroy snowshoes. Just don't even think about it. They suck in comparison. And these are right there in a lot of aspects with split boards. Split boarding is great if you're going out on a long tour. You want that good glide in the flats and you're not putting your board back together a lot. You're going up, doing one long run, then coming down, and then going up, doing one long run, coming down, then maybe touring back home. That's where a split board is better. But if you're somebody like me who's doing hot laps in the morning up a short route, you want something like this because the change time is much faster. With the drift boards, it's a little faster because you don't have to take the bindings off and twist them in and then put the pin in. But it's still much faster than split boarding because you don't have to put the board together and you don't have to take apart skins. Skins suck to deal with and manage, and that's why I like the Rovers. And what a lot of people don't tell you, especially split boarders, is split boards just don't ride the same as solids, and it's just not as much fun for me, especially if I'm going up on a short run before the lifts open and doing a little uphill travel. I'm much happier going down on a solid board. So let's talk about some of the negatives. Riding split board bindings on a solid board just isn't that much fun. It's still better than riding split board bindings on a split board going down, but when I get on, let's say, my spring break powder glider and my Union Atlas on drift boards, it's special. In powder, it's not quite as noticeable, but if you're going to do this on groomers, you're really going to like that solid binding. But I still notice it in powder and still like it much better than the Union Expeditions. One last thing I don't like versus the drift is if you buy this kit and you get the Union Explorers, they only have one uphill riser. Now compare that to my drift boards. You have two uphill risers. You have this big one that's about the equivalent to the Rover/Explorer, or you have this medium one. And I can't tell you how much I use this medium one on my local uphill route. I use this just as much as the tall one. And especially when I'm side hilling in steeper terrain, I love putting this thing down and using this so I'm more balanced on the side hill because I'm still going up and to the side, but it just feels more level and I feel like it can get better strides. So the drift boards definitely have an advantage there. So I really like that this has two settings. Now that's kind of the main detraction here. Now let's talk about some of the positives against the drift boards. You have an actual side cut on both sides, and you have a disruption in the side cut, and you have steel edges. This is just a urethane edge. Now you can see the skins go a little bit closer to the edge with the drift boards than the Rovers, but it's really close. There were many a times with the drift boards where I got into a hard patch of snow and it was really hard to hold an edge. So these hold an edge really well, and they side hill much better because they're longer and narrower, and you can just edge in a little easier. And my side hilling traverse up the cone where I mainly go at Mount Bachelor was much better with this, especially in hard snow. So if you're somebody who's not just going to go out and powder, this is the call. Now, as far as uphill travel and weight, these are pretty close in weight to the drift boards with the Union Expeditions on versus the drift boards with their own bindings. The drift boards are a little lighter, but it wasn't really a big difference. Both are a massive difference versus a split board, which is like 2-3 times the weight. And 1 pound of weight on the foot is equal to 6 pounds on the back. So if it's not windy, it is so much easier putting the board on your back and going uphill. When I'm on a split board, especially coming off either the Rovers or the drift boards, I feel like two hobbits are dry humping my legs as I'm trying to go uphill. If I have my choice, I'd do this. I only like split boards for long tours. They do much better, but these Rovers travel uphill so easy. The skins have good enough grip. I wish they put the skin all the way through. I don't know why they did this, but I'm sure there's a reason. But they just have this little camber. It just springs you forward a little bit more than the drift boards, and I love that. The drift boards are a little lighter, but the Union Rovers have that camber pop. They're about the same. Now, deep powder, I didn't get a chance to test these yet in deep powder. I've gotten the drift boards in pretty thick, deep Pacific Northwest powder, and I've gotten them even in some medium depth but light and fluffy powder, and they've always done okay. They might not be the best in the ultralight fluffy powder, but they're just exponentially better than snowshoes to the point that you don't even want to think about it. So that's to be continued. I really need to test these in some deep powder to see how the shape's going to do in comparison to the drift boards. And believe me, when there's good powder, I will. So in conclusion, yeah, there's nothing better than going up on my drift boards with my Union Atlas and let's say my spring break powder glider or any solid I want to ride that day. That's my favorite. But if I have to go up in harder snow, or if I know I'm taking a little bit longer of an uphill travel and I might have some varied conditions, I want the Union Rovers. And they're really close to the drift boards already their first year out. The only thing holding them back, I would say, is the fact that you have to get split board bindings with these. And powders to be continued. We don't know how well these will stay afloat in powder when you're traveling uphill in the deep stuff, which we do a lot. But if these had their own binding, these might be my choice. But as it stands right now, I'm still kind of spending time with the drifts. I think I kind of want to take my drift board bindings, find the right kind of screw, and mount them on my Rovers and see what happens there.
Morning.
All our reviews are a best effort, objective opinion from an average rider's perspective. There's no brand oversight, and we're free to say whatever we want. We send back everything unless it's a favorite, then we ask to keep those or straight up buy them. Now, if you need advice, fill out the eHarmony profile in the Contact Us section of the site. It's the only way I can help you properly. If you want to support us, and if what we reviewed appeals to you, it helps if you buy through our links. So, thanks for watching.